Well, picnic season is upon us, and Murray's Mill Historic District in eastern Catawba County might be a great place to have one. It looks pretty much the way it did a century ago. In tonight's One Tank Trip, producer Russ Hunsinger shows us the centerpiece of this National Historic Site is a dam dating back to the early 1900s.
Visiting Murray's Mill Historic District. Here we have nearly 20 buildings that range in age from 1812 to 1913, all of which have to do with the Murray family who ran the mill for over a century.
This particular mill ran until 1967, produced wheat, cornmeal, wheat flour, feed for local livestock.
Historically speaking, community members would come here to buy their staples, their grits from the mill and their eggs from the store, and do a little bit of socializing in between.
Well, this is the last surviving grist mill in the Catawba River Valley, and it is a historic site stored by the Catawba County Historical Association.
Historic buildings need a lot of extra attention, and we're lucky enough that when this site was threatened, the community rallied, saved it, and still help us today with those brick and mortar needs.
We rebuilt the wheel, the internal workings of the mill itself, restored the outside. The roof was partially off and all the siding was reworked.
A couple times a year we grind our own cornmeal and grits and wheat. In fact, behind the mill, all the acreage that you see, that is owned by a local farmer who works closely with us, and he donates the corn. And then Renwood Mills in Newton, the county seat, donates the wheat. Grown locally, ground locally, and cooked in local homes.
We have a 28-foot overshot water wheel. From the pond behind us, the water is fed to the wheel. Here in the basement, just right outside the water wheel, we actually have the drive gears that comes in to drive a set of gears that's actually driving our stone. The corn should be loaded into a bin, should be fed into the wheel. But as the corn falls down the middle and travels out these valleys and across these ridges is actually where it's ground. The top stone's actually the only one that turns. The stones actually do not touch. The gap in between there is just fractions of an inch, which can be adjusted to get the coarseness that you want out of the corn. From there, we would feed it into the bolter, and we can actually sift out the cornmeal to be bagged for the product that we sell.
I used to come here when I was a kid, and we bought grits here. I was born and raised on grits, and I love the grits from here.
I think it's a great historical mark to let people know what things used to be like in the past, especially for my 7-year-old son.
I just come here to hang out and work because there's all kinds of cool stuff in here. I just like the water, the wheel. We live on Murray's Mill Road, so we live right up from the mill, so we get to come a lot. But if you've never been, it's a beautiful site with a trail that goes around. So we love to come just watch the wheel when it's running, and we usually leave with some cornmeal. So.
I think it's important to save these old historic sites because this is where people lived their lives. This is where they shopped. This is where they fell in love. This is where they raised their families. And still today, we have many families that come here to shoot their family portraits, come here and have their weddings, and they're really making new memories.
Thanks so much, Russ. That's the perfect setting for a picnic, and I'm going to have to check it out sometime soon.